Hello everyone. Hi, I'm Saiful Islam. I'm a migrant worker in the construction industry. I have been working in Singapore for 5 years. When I first came to Singapore, I never imagined that I would be able to give a speech in this kind of setting in front of an audience of 300 or 400 people. In fact, 1 year ago, I didn't even speak English. I didn't even know what a TED Talk was. I first watched a TEDx video in our oral presentation lesson at SDI Academy, and today I'm honored to be given this opportunity to speak here. Thank you very much. I would like to share my experience with all of you. To be honest, there has not been much interaction between us. We use the same MRT trains, walk on the same escalators, withdraw money from the same ATMs, buy vegetables at the same supermarket, and even eat at the same hawker center. Yet, we do not talk. It's like we are invisible to each other's existence. Fortunately, there has been a significant increase in the level of awareness and interaction in more recent years. The reason there was a lack of awareness was because we do not know much about each other. And when we do not know much about each other, our differences are highlighted and our similarities are neglected. But we are much more similar than we realize. I say this on behalf of all my migrant worker brothers. You and I may not talk, maybe we may not speak the same language even, but we share a lot of similarities. For example, both of us are very casual. Singaporean, we love to queue for food, offer, discount. As a migrant worker, we also love to queue for shower in the dormitory after coming back from work. I'm kidding, nobody likes to queue, but you get my point. Okay, there are, however, some very real similarities. Both Singaporean and us have dreams that we are working very hard to achieve. Both of us care for our family and loved ones. Both of us sacrifice so that our families and our children can have a better future. I'm a Bangladeshi. I was born in Isapura. This is a small village. And I dropped out of school when I was 15 years old because of my family's financial problem. This economic burden robbed me of my golden life. I took a job in a garments factory. I worked long hours and even weekends. But I was still only able to save very little to support my family. One day, my friends told me that if I took a job in Singapore, I could better help my family. I then went and found an agent who told me that he would charge me a lot of money to get me a job in Singapore. As you may have heard, agents charge a huge sum of money. To raise this money, my parents sold their ancestral land and took a loan from a relative. This was a very painful time in the history of my life. I finally was able to come to Singapore on April 24, 2011. My life was here very difficult. I did back-breaking labor. My first job was river bending. This is a very hard job that requires a lot of physical strength. After work on my first day, I could not sleep at night because every part of my body ached. I wanted to cry, but no one was there to listen my sobs. In my room at night, I was surrounded by a sea of people, maybe 20. But I have never felt lonely. And I continued to persevere and kept on working hard. And I was one of the lucky ones to be recognized for my hard work by my supervisor, Mr. Go Seng Lai. One of the special person in my life, Mr. Go Seng Lai. He is an inspiration for me. He motivated and encouraged me to do short courses like safety supervisor, work at height supervisor, forklift driving license, and other technical certifications. I performed well in these courses and my supervisor recognized my good work. Then he told me I should go improve my English. And I understood no one can expect to get a better job without knowing English. To further improve myself, I took an everyday English course from SDI Academy. I had a lot of fun, a lot of activities, our dragon boating racing, Chinese New Year picnic. We are here 4 mentors with our Tawfiq sir. After completing my everyday English course, I took oral presentation lesson. In my oral presentation lesson, I once saw a video about Jack Ma. I find Jack Ma to be a miracle person. Oh, he's really amazing guy. I listened to him, he said he applied for 400 jobs and got rejected by all of them. I remember watching this video, he said he applied for a job at KFC. 24% applied for the job. 23 got the job, except for Jack Ma. Again, few months later, he applied for a job in the police force. 7 people applied for the job. 6 got in, Jack Ma failed again. Not only these 2 times, he failed many times, but he never gave up. Jack Ma failed to get admission to Harvard 10 times, but now they invite him to come and give talks. Jack Ma grew up in China, but he wanted to learn English, so he provided free tour guide to the tourists in China for 9 long years just to learn English. He constantly kept trying to improve himself. He used every opportunity to upskill and become better. When I learned about Jack Ma, I tried to improve my future also like him. This motivated me to learn new and higher level skill. I went to my supervisor and requested him for an office job. I wanted to learn about AutoCAD inventor designing, and he allowed me to go take a course on it at Singapore Polytechnic. And he allowed me to leave work early to go study. Once I finished my course, my company gave me a position in the office. A computer and an email. Nowadays, I help my supervisor in inventor designing. Even 1 year ago, I could never believe I would be able to reach this position, that I would be sitting on a chair and doing this kind of work. My next target is to obtain a diploma in mechanical engineering. But my study level is very low since I left school early. They told me to do a foundation course, and if I do well in that, they will let me pursue a diploma. My goal now is to do my foundation course well. So, as I said earlier, migrant workers are more than just guys in yellow helmet and high visibility vest. beneath all that you and I are very alike. I too have dreams just like you. I too have ambition and drive. I too want to become the best possible version of myself so that I can give more opportunities to my brothers and my sisters and a better life. My old parents, circle, compass, and guide of my life. My mama and papa, I love you so much. Singapore, and all of you also shared that same passion. 60 years ago, just 60 years ago, Singapore was a third world country. But today, it's number one country. It's development number one. It got world-class facilities comparable to US or Europe. It is possible because you all made sacrifice. You all worked long hours and very hard to make all this possible. It is this similarity of ambition that binds migrant workers and Singaporeans together. As for the differences, our small, little differences are what makes us unique and add flavor to our society. This brings a diversity to this country. And I sincerely believe that diversity is a strength and not a weakness. We both add value to each other's life. So let us take a step towards one another and meet each other halfway. And as we do that, we are building bridge for each other. It doesn't have to be very difficult. Really, it doesn't have to be very difficult. Next time, you sit next to a migrant worker in the MRT, or stand in front of him in a queue, just try to strike up a conversation. You will realize very soon that there is more similarity between us than meets the eye. And if you feel the language barrier is the problem, one can always fall back on the universal language of smiling. Thank you very much.